Welcome to the Digital Dream Out the Ground podcast. It is your host, Oscar Ali, joined by co-host with most, number 24, Cortez Branch Jr. And we are live today on a beautiful Saturday here in Northern California. Obviously, both of the Bears and the 49ers won last week. The Bears, I believe, are now, 1-2 on the season after
One and two.
dominating the Cowboys. The 49ers are now obviously up to 3-0 undefeated. And now, I mean, unfortunately, though, I mean, unfortunate news from the Niners is that Nick Bosa's out for the year. So, well, we're going to talk about that and much more. But let me first start off. Tomorrow night, prime time, Micah Parsons returns home to Dallas, who y'all just basically whooped. What are your expectations for that primetime matchup tomorrow night in the Big D?
Dallas better figure something out because they didn't look good against the Chicago Bears, and
Nope.
Chicago Bears aren't a good football team. So
It's simple as that. No, 100%. You see, when I look at it as the Green Bay Packers are improved on every single phase of the game, on all cylinders, offense, defense, special teams. And Micah just add that added element. I mean, you would think losing Kenny Clark would obviously, make them like kind of lose step on the pass rush. That is not the case. Michael Parsons, like my buddy keeps saying, I mean, he's this generation's version of LT. And obviously, to your point, it's really I mean, Dallas has to figure something out. One of my coworkers, Jermaine, shout out Jermaine, if you're watching this, Mr. Posey he was saying that the Jerry World is known as Lambeau South. The Green Bay Packers always gets numbers out there. They won a Super Bowl down there 15 years ago. Aaron Rodgers at the helm. So, I mean, honestly, to your point, I mean, I agree. I mean, Dallas got to figure something now. I mean, otherwise, it's gonna be tough sledding. So far, it's been tough sledding for them. Boy, they 1-2 on the year. So, I mean,
yeah, they're 1 and 2. They should have beat the Eagles, but I mean, let's keep it real. They should have beat the Eagles.
yeah, no, they should have won that game.
That was their only chance, in my opinion, to beat the Eagles because the Eagles are only going to keep getting better this year.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, as a Niners fan, I mean, obviously, my own personal interest of Niners, having a rooted vested interest in the Niners actually, making a deep playoff run this year. I have to agree with the latest power rankings by CBS Sports and NFL.com. I do think the Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now. Like they say, um, you know,
They're effortlessly winning games.
I
But
mean,
I'm not saying that they're not playing hard. I'm saying that they're not doing anything outside of the norm of what the Eagles do to win games.
well, and to the point, I mean, especially last week when you saw Jordan Davis, block that punt. I mean, maybe a special teamer. Watching him run that back and, sealing the game when the Rams are about to win it. I mean, there are some things that define teams, and that really is a hallmark of the Eagles. I mean, when you're a big boy, 300 pound, 6'5", 340 pound lineman, defensive lineman is basically blocking the punt or blocking the field goal and basically running it back, and no one can stop that man. I mean, I mean, that's a tone setter, and that yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, the Eagles are, in my opinion, the best team hands down,
Yeah,
head shoulders in the NFL. So,
yeah. I would say if you're gonna ask me the top five, I would probably say Eagles, Chargers, Detroit, um, Buffalo, and I would love to put Baltimore in there, but dude, they keep losing games in the dumbest ways.
well, I mean, they got dog walked on Monday night against Detroit. I mean, what was it, 7 sacks for Aiden Hutchinson and
Yeah,
and
and
Khalil
then
and Muhammad,
two
right, and all those boys.
two
Shout.
fumbles, Derrick Henry.
I mean, two fumbles. I mean, one of them in the fourth quarter, and then he had that tantrum on the sideline where he threw his helmet. And he was basically like, losing his shit. I mean, honestly. Yeah, the Ravens have all the talent in the world. In my opinion, on paper, they should be the favorites. They were the preseason Super Bowl favorites, but right now, and kind of what we've seen throughout the trajectory of Lamar Jackson's career, there's just something missing. I don't know if it's leadership. I don't know if it's just execution. I don't know if it's
it's
just
it's an instinct. It's they're missing one thing, and that's killer instinct, right? I don't see killer instinct on the Ravens. I see a ton of talent, but I don't see any killer instinct when it comes down to winning the game. You've seen guys turn into killer instinct mode. You've seen it in San Francisco just the last 2 weeks. You've seen it in San Francisco. You've seen it in LA with the Chargers and the Rams. I mean, you even saw it in Chicago for one week. I have not seen that type of intensity in the fourth quarter from Baltimore. I've seen it in the first three quarters. I've seen it. I have not seen it in the fourth quarter. And unfortunately, in this league, if you don't play a good fourth quarter, you can end up just like what happened with Arizona this last game. They were down all game, and then offensive flurry in the fourth quarter,
Yeah. I mean,
touchdown
essentially,
after touchdown after touchdown.
yeah. And, obviously Niners, I mean, let's talk about Arizona. Let's talk about the Seahawks, Thursday night matchup that just happened. Arizona losing to the Seahawks 23-20 and, following up losing to the Niners 16-13. That was a thriller. Niners were down 15-13, but that's safety in the end zone. And then obviously, I mean, Mac Jones and, Matt, I mean, obviously Fred Warner, shout out to the best, linebacker in the NFL today, in my opinion. But, I mean, for making some critical plays down the stretch, but really, gotta give it to my man right here, number 2-3, Christian McCaffrey. I mean, run RPO, the man out of the backfield, on the screen. I mean, no one can stop him, right? And he set up that field goal, and let's give it up for Eddie Pinheiro, who basically, gave the, this is my house celebration for that walk-off field goal. Um, yeah, Levi's was nuts. Let me ask you. I mean, obviously Bosa's out, which is a huge loss.
Wait, say his name again.
Eddie Pinheiro.
Fuck that guy.
Oh my gosh,
I'm
love it.
still mad about him.
I know, I know. Oh man.
Double doink.
No, no, no. You're talking about Cody Parkey.
Oh yeah, party. My bad.
You're
Eddie
good.
Pinheiro is the one that missed it. He missed it when he was with Philadelphia, right?
Eddie Pinheiro was with Carolina. I don't know if he was a Philly. But
Who
yeah,
was he
Eddie
with
Pinheiro was
before
a
that?
someone else. I don't know. I have no idea about his career. I just found out about this dude like literally a week ago,
I'm gonna
right
find out
before
now.
he
I
signed.
because I'm familiar with the name. I gotta find out who he played with.
Okay, sounds good. All right, but let's talk about it. All right, so obviously Niners are now through first place in the NFC West. Now coming into town tomorrow are the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just came off a really really strong win. Not really strong win, but like a hard fought win against the Texans. To kind of do. I mean, I believe they're still second
No,
place.
he was on the Bears. He was a Bears kicker.
Yeah, basically
I got
okay,
him.
yeah, but
He
Cody
he
Park,
he missed a different kick. Cody
yeah,
Parkey missed the other one. Pinero missed the one a couple of years ago that pissed me off. Yeah.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
I hate them both.
Cody Parkey is an NFL lore, not just Bears lore, in NFL lore for the
Yeah.
double doink.
NFL Lord. Double
Yeah,
doink is an actual
that is
term
infamy.
now.
That is infamy. If I
You
ever
do
knew
know that like that's
it.
the reason the Eagles won the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, well, actually, no, it was the year after they won the Super Bowls, but the Eagles were able to make it to the divisional. They lost to the Saints. But
Yeah.
honestly, if that Bears team won that game,
They
I
win
don't
the
see
Super
any.
Bowl.
I don't see anyone. I was thinking about it. I don't see anyone getting in their way. I mean, who was going to stop them in the NFC to make it to the Super Bowl? I mean, they beat the Rams, who actually represent the NFC that year in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. I mean, who would stop them from at least making it to the big dance? No one. So
No
really,
one.
I mean,
And I think that they would have played well against the Patriots.
oh yeah, they would have played well. Yeah, I'm not saying that they would have won, but they would have absolutely
It
made
would
it
it would have
again.
came down to it wouldn't have been a blowout.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been what we saw, 13-3, whatever the fuck that was against the Rams. I mean, the Rams getting to the Super Bowl, they play like garbage. I don't understand that. So, anyways, now back to kind of the point, right? So obviously back to the Niners, right? Niners are now
You
3-0,
see,
leading
I'm
it.
triggered by Bears kickers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Currently triggered by Bears kickers,
Oh man,
and
Carlos
then
Santos.
we
Yes, sir. Hey,
and
we'll get.
then we picked up the other guy y'all just dropped.
Yes, sir. Jake Moody. He's a now Chicago Bear, y'all. If y'all
You
don't
see what
know,
I'm you see what I'm saying, right?
I know. I do see what you're saying, man. I see what you're saying. So, anyways, all right. Let's talk about it. Niners are now 3-0 in the NFC West. Obviously, both's out for the year. That sucks. Mac Jones coming. Kittle's still out for a few more weeks. But Brock Purdy is anticipated to make his return tomorrow. You got Micah Williams and basically a surprise addition. I guess a surprise. On the season in terms of kind of performance thus far is Bryce Huff, the free agent acquisition who they got from Philly, right? Who's actually stepped up and made some critical plays too on the pass rush on the defensive line. The Jacksonville Jaguars are no slouch, but I do wholeheartedly feel the Niners can and should win this game. Whether it's by 3 points, whether it's by 1 point, whether it's a blowout, I really think that they should find a way to win this game, even though they're going to be out without their leaders on offense and defense. But if Brock Purdy is back, obviously that is going to help them out tremendously. What are your expectations now with Bosa being out? And then obviously we'll talk about who Niners should pick up, maybe from from a different team, maybe through a trade. Or what are your expectations for tomorrow? And do you think the Niners still have a chance of not only winning the division, but also making a deep playoff run at the end of the season?
I'm going to give him a 60-40 chance on winning the division.
Okay.
I'll give him another 65-35 on a playoff run.
Yeah.
And that's because what most people don't know because they haven't paid attention is the Niners are still loading up on defense.
Yeah.
They've been trying out free agents. They've been bringing people in. They're trying to make trades. Like if you're obviously you being out there and you understanding what's going on with the organization. They're trying to make moves.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
think one of the biggest acquisitions they could pick up is if they tried out Shiloh Sanders
Yeah.
yesterday and the day beforehand. And
Yeah.
if they pick up Shiloh Sanders, it shows they're trying to win, and not just because we're saying that he's this generational talent. I hate when people act like that. It is not easy to play cornerback in the NFL, but if you can have a guy that can play safety and corner like Shiloh, I think that he helps bolster your defense. He's no slouch on defense.
Right.
And, and
No,
and I
I
have a feeling that if his name wasn't Sanders, he wouldn't have got cut.
right. I feel like, part of that, unfortunately, with that comes with, following in your father's footsteps, obviously the old man, guys, autograph right up there, Mr. Dion. Actually, where is it? No, it's right there. Dion at prime
Prime
time, right there,
time,
y'all.
baby. Prime time.
My prime time Dion. No, shout out to number 2-1, the greatest of all time. The greatest corner to ever play the game. Um, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that Niners are being aggressive. You saw it with the move to finally cut Jake Moody, which was actually kind of a risky move in terms of the perception of the organization in front of the fans because the fact that they had drafted Jake Moody in the third round,
Right?
and that was a very questionable trade or pick. And he obviously, again, this game, this Super Bowl, I'm never gonna let it go. Jake Moody kicked it low. Got blocked. I wholeheartedly believed if he just if it was if just a little bit higher, like not even that much, maybe just like a foot, like a little, like just like maybe a different angle,
Two
it would have went in.
degrees. Two
Yeah,
degrees.
two dude, like the Niners would have been able to ice the game in the regulation. We wouldn't have lost that Super Bowl. But anyways, long story. That's no, not crying or spilled milk. I agree. I think the Niners are showing you right now that they're trying to make the moves. I would say that, in lieu of Nick Bosa, you make a great point about Shiloh Sanders because secondary with a bunch of young rookies, right? Upton Stout, Siegel, right? A bunch of other guys, who are second year players like Malik Mustafa, Renardo Green, not saying that we're seeing sophomore slumps, but I mean, there were some kind of questionable plays here and there last week. Hopefully it's just rust, right? And hopefully, they kind of get going. But getting some more depth is never a bad thing, even if Shiloh is just a depth piece. But really, what I'm focused on is kind of what I want to see is, the number 11 overall pick, Micah Williams, coming off of the edge. This is his chance. I mean, he is proven so far on this year that he is the Niners' best run defender, bar none.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the stat sheet doesn't show the sacks that you expect. The stat sheet doesn't show like, all that stuff, but the run defense and the fact that he commands double teams, the reason why Nick Bosa had 2 sacks on the year before he went out with the ACL was because Michael Williams was basically commanding the double team going interior,
Right.
which to me is very, very telling of how much teams respect him, you know?
Yeah.
Because this boy is only 21 years old. He's 6'5", 270, and he has long arms and he is a menace and he's going to be a menace
He's a
for years to
monster.
come. So what my expectation is, I hope Bryce Huff, unfortunately Bryce Huff was brought in to be a rotational kind of like like a third down type of closer type player, but unfortunately he's going to have to now try and transition to an every down player with Nick Bosa going out, right?
Yes.
That is going to obviously put more pressure on the other guys too as well, like Michael Williams, CJ West, Alfred Collins, these young rookies. Etur Gross-Matos. I'm hoping Etur Gross-Matos can obviously. That's another thing. Etur Gross-Matos will get an opportunity to get more reps. He's looked solid here and there. So there's going to be opportunity for the young guys to get reps. I do think though they trade someone. If I were to trade someone right now, I would trade for Bradley Chubb out of Miami. He is on an expiring contract. Miami's probably cleaning house because of how basically how
Yeah.
shit
They're
what a shit
terrible.
show that they put on film, up to this point this season, right? And Bradley Chubb, probably a fourth round pick, gets it done with his injury history, and I feel like he's hungry, and I feel like he would be a great add. If you're in win now mode, you make that move. So if you can't get Trey Hendrickson from Cincinnati, you can't get other defensive line from other places, get Bradley Chubb. Get a guy on an expiring contract and see what happens. So
Yeah. Agreed.
So we'll see what happens in the Niners, whatever moves they make next couple of weeks, next couple of days actually. So anyways, so that's for the Niners. Now let's go over to your Bears. Obviously, your Bears pick up their first win of the year, a dominating win, 31-14 over the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean, they look like they were going to win in week one. They basically beat themselves. They really should be 2-1 on the year. I didn't watch the week two game, um, but they got dominated, I think, right, by the Lions, if I'm not mistaken. So, really, the Bears should be 2-1. What are your expectations here on out? Because what I saw from Caleb, at least in week one, he looked a lot better than he did all of last year in that one game, right? And
The
I
best game
still,
of his career.
yeah, and I still think even though they came on losing end. Maybe, just maybe, if they can figure out a way to keep things going, and he can figure out a way to make the right plays and right decisions, right, in the critical moments. Could you see the Bears finish with a winning record this year?
Yeah, I mean the division is it's not an easy division at
Oh no.
all, but
No. Probably the toughest division in the NFC.
it's the toughest division. Yeah, it's the toughest
Yeah.
division in the NFC.
Yeah, bar none.
And they just and the Minnesota isn't bad without JJ McCarthy. So and they got
Yeah.
Jordan Addison back this week. Jordan Addison is back from suspension this week. Um, the I would say if the Bears play like how they played against Dallas or the first half of week one, not week two. Week two was utter garbage.
Yeah.
But week one and week three with Chicago, if they play like that and they continue to get better, like it looks like they're getting better. They're still bad in my opinion, but it looks like they're getting better. Beating the Cowboys, I'll always say this, guys. Beating the Cowboys does not make you a good football team. So I would like to see what they do next. And if they can, I'm a big proponent of saying that the Cowboys are the most dysfunctional team in professional football. But if you can build on beating the Cowboys and then beating another team, and then who knows, we might be in for a win streak. We haven't seen one of those in Chicago in a pretty long time.
Yeah, I would say that if the Bears can, figure out a way to kind of again cut down the penalties, make better decisions in the clutch, and that comes down to Caleb, right? Because Caleb is really, he was the
Yeah,
first overall pick last year. This is his second year. He needs to kind of, he's got to figure it out, unfortunately. That's the expectations. Justin Fields couldn't do it. He's in New York. He actually looks pretty good. Even though
he's
the
in
Jet,
concussion protocol right now.
yeah, yeah, even though the Jets don't have a winning record, I mean, they should have won that game, in my opinion, against Tampa Bay. Just, they couldn't close it.
100%.
So, you know, the expectations that come with being the first overall pick are you are the franchise player. You are the face of the franchise, and you are the guy who, when your back's against the wall, this is the guy who should be able to lead us through, right? And
Yeah,
essentially now, I mean, the way we look at it, I look at it from the perspective of, I mean, if the Bears can't figure it out, like we talked about, right? You got the Vikings, you got the Packers, you got the Lions, all three are potential playoff teams. All three have winning records. Looking like the best division right now in the NFC, and honestly, the NFL at this point. It's really going to be tough sledding, right? If the Bears,
yeah,
can't, get, figure it out. I would say though, I think Ben Johnson, this is his first year as head coach. I think, what some of the improvements we've seen from Caleb, I think that's part of Ben Johnson's scheme. But we'll see if they can actually execute wire to wire and close out games. That was one of the criticisms of the Niners, obviously Kyle Shanahan for some time. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
well,
So,
let's see what we're dealing with. Okay, so we're dealing with in Chicago. We play the that's the preseason. We play the Raiders next, which in my opinion should be a dub.
yep.
The Commanders might also be a dub considering Jaden Daniels is still out. Saints at Bears. That better be a dub. The Saints are garbage. Uh the Bears' next real challenge outside of Washington is a few weeks from now when they play the Ravens on the 26th of October. So we're talking about their next real challenge is a month out. You know, Bengals, Joe Burrowless, they might as well have they had their claws and teeth removed. The Giants, not worried about nothing there. The Vikings again, the Steelers, the Eagles. So we're looking at an opportunity for the Bears to have a winning record by the time we get back to the Packers in December. Packers, Browns, Packers, 49ers, and Lions. So the last 5 games, they might go 3-2 in the last 5 games. I don't really see them beating the Niners. I don't really see them beating the Lions. They can beat the Packers, and that they definitely can beat the Browns. But we'll see how the team looks by the time we get to the last 5 weeks of the season. We're only on week 4 right now, but this is not a hard schedule.
Right.
You can easily go 10-7 in this schedule and not miss the playoffs.
Right. No, that's what I'm asking because I could see this team like getting clinching a wild card spot, if they can finish with a winning record. And to your point, I agree. I guess maybe it's too early to say. So I guess it's TBD. We'll see kind of where they land in the next couple of
Yeah, I
weeks.
mean they gotta beat somebody in the division. Like they can't they lost to they already lost to the Vikings, right? And they already lost to the Lions. You have to start beating up on your division because if you don't beat up on this division, then you don't stand a chance.
Right. That's how it is, right? I mean, you gotta start winning these games, otherwise, I mean, that's divisional games are huge. Speaking of divisional games, so obviously the back to the Rams. The Rams essentially Rams obviously losing to the Eagles, right? I was
Yep.
reading an article from Jeffrey Jadia from NFL.com that he still thinks the Rams are probably the Rams and the Seahawks and the Cardinals will have a chance to overtake the Niners. But really, I don't know. I think Niners can still win. I still think the Niners
I
are
don't think that the Seahawks are better than the Niners.
no, absolutely not. Niners have beat the Seahawks. They've already beat the Cardinals. Granted, both games were decided in the last like kind of last minute. But that's how you prove your dominance. I mean, this is the difference between this year's team and last year's team winning these close games. Now, the Rams do present matchup problems, especially on the defensive line with Jared Verse and Fisk, right? I mean the two young boys who were rookies last year who are now basically Pro Bowlers, right?
Yep.
So Niners are going to have to, figure out a way to step up, for those games. Obviously, I think some of the linemen are banged up too for the Niners. I think Pooney and a few others. So we'll see kind of how the offensive line looks over the course of the next couple of weeks, especially tomorrow. But with that said, I still feel the Niners should finish with at least 10 wins, right? The schedule is not hard at all. They've already won their two of their divisional games. If they can finish with a winning record in the division and when, if they split, their non-divisional games, they'll still finish with a winning record, right? They're already 3-0, right? So with that said, I mean, if the Niners were to go like if the Lions split the rest of the year and they would finish 10-7 and they clinch a wild card spot, getting to the playoffs, anything can happen, right? It really depends on how you get in, especially if you start winning games near the end of the season to get in. But it's very interesting if the Niners can somehow finish with maybe 12 or 13 wins somehow with this team because the schedule is favorable. It's one of the easiest schedules in the NFL, right? And basically from there, I mean, if they can get into the playoffs, it's anyone's game. Now, that said, missing Nick Bosa, missing Brandon Ayuk, uh, George Kittle being out, yeah, Brock's coming back, but you still kind of it's TBD for now. A lot of young talent, I got a lot of rookies, a lot of second year players, on both sides of the ball. I like what I've seen so far from Ricky Pearsall. I like what I've seen from Jennings, who's not he's a vet, but yeah, I mean I'm optimistic because in the NFC outside of Philly and I guess Detroit and Green Bay, there's not too many teams who I'm really scared of. If I mean, really, there's not too many teams that really I look at and say, oh yeah, this is a
Not in the
massive problem.
NFC.
Not in the NFC, right? AFC is a different story. Obviously the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs have all historically had the Niners number. But outside of that, I mean, those outside of those powerhouses, really it's anyone's. I mean, and the Chiefs just got their first win over last week and against the Giants on. I mean, that's not anything to be
I mean,
impressed
I'm
with.
I'm kind of mad that they haven't given Justin Herbert his fucking flowers.
Yeah, Justin Herbert's looking really good. I mean, the
He looks like
Chargers
the
a bit of
best
a.
quarterback in the league right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I
Hands
mean,
down. He's
hands
3 and
down.
0. He's healthy. His team looks great. He's distributing the ball everywhere. He makes Keenan Allen look young again.
Oh
He
yeah,
looked he looked like an old man in Chicago last year. He does not look like the old man that was in Chicago last year.
yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean.
I got to give and he already beat Patrick Mahomes this year in convincing fashion.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, Justin Herbert is actually second in passing yardage on the year. If I'm not mistaken, is he leading? No, he's not leading touchdowns, but he's second in passing yards. And granted, the one who's leading him is Sam Darnold, and that's because Sam Darnold played 4 games. Justin Herbert is only 45 yards behind Sam Darnold with 860 to 905. because Justin
He'll pass
Herbert
him in the
did
first quarter.
right because Justin Herbert hasn't even played his fourth game yet. So I mean, 6-1 TD to INT ratio, 105.5 passer rating, 67%
And a gang of rushing
completion.
yards.
Yeah, I mean, rushing yards. I mean, I don't even have those numbers up, but I'm looking at, just the passing stats. I mean, you're right. I mean, he's looking really good. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he's leading the league in yards per game in terms of passing, of around 287 yards per game. And right on his tails is Mac Jones at 281.5. Mac attack, but Mac's probably going to be out this next year, or not next year, next week. And then Brock coming, who's number three right now, with 277 yards per game. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how, if Brock, and that's what I'm interested to see tomorrow, how Brock looks, being out 2 weeks. And I mean, really, I'm not gonna say it's QB controversy, but you pay Brock all this money, and now you have back come in. He's looked pretty competent up to this point. Obviously he's not a better quarterback than Brock, but I mean, you do ask the question like, if Brock can't stay healthy, when we start considering other options, right? Because really, that
Well,
was the
I,
issue.
I gotta say, you got both Daniel Jones and Mac Jones have impressed me with their ability to play football. I
Daniel
wish they
Jones
would have played
especially.
like this for the last couple of years with their teams they got drafted on. But sometimes you get drafted to the wrong team, man.
Yeah, I would say Daniel Jones. I mean, he's been the biggest surprise for me. The Colts, I mean, let's talk about them. 3-0 on the year. Jonathan Taylor looking like he found the fountain of youth. I mean, everything. They're clicking on all cylinders right now. I mean,
They're really good, and Daniel Jones right now. Daniel Jones is really good.
what? They've won every single game. They have blown out their opponents outside of Denver, in week two. And, now they have I believe they actually play the Rams
Daniel
tomorrow.
Jones
So,
is looking like prime Peyton Manning out there.
yeah, if the Colts win tomorrow against the Rams, I have no reason to believe that because then because after they play the Rams tomorrow, then they come back home, they play the Raiders after y'all play them, then the Cardinals come and they should beat them too. And then essentially then you go back, you go on the road to play the Chargers. They might lose that game against Justin Herbert, but then they play the Titans again, who they already beat. Then they go at Pittsburgh. They could potentially lose that game, but then versus the Falcons, they should win that game. At KC, toss up, right? To Houston, they already
That's
beat
going to be a
them.
very good game. Is KC Indianapolis?
Yeah, actually, no, Houston, they haven't played them yet, but Houston we'll see. And then Houston hasn't looked that good so far. Jacksonville, obviously, like, I mean, they look okay. They look solid, but I mean, I don't see, but they don't look wide better than the Colts. Then at Seattle versus us, we have to travel there. That's actually a Monday night game. We're going to be playing the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football. So the 49ers on December 22nd, head to Indianapolis and play a Monday Night Football on ESPN. And then they close out the year against Jacksonville, Houston. If you want to talk about easy schedules, I mean, the Colts have a pretty favorable schedule, and it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes out. They could very well finish with the 12-13 win season, if everything goes well, or 10 wins at least, if you don't have 3-0. All right, we
Right.
got less than 10 minutes left. Let's change the over to pro wrestling. All right, my friend. Survivor Series, Crown Jewel, all that's upon us. Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins, solid promo on Monday night. Obviously, you got the division going on. You got the Usos kind of that little the kind of fire kind of spurning
Cody's
between
going
them.
over Seth.
Cody's
Period.
obviously going over Seth. You cannot let your secondary guy win over your primary guy. But I did really love that face to face because you remember what Seth said, right? Like you believe that he's like you got a podcast and you think that that you're the one directed to lead this company into the future. Does that means that you either mean that you don't think I'm as good as you, or you just think that I'm not, that I can't beat you, right? Or this and that, right? And so
Yeah.
that was wow. I mean, I don't know if that was a heel or like a face moment. It was kind of like that weird tweener moment. It's like he said that, and it's like that's actually kind of true. Like,
Here's the thing about Seth's character,
yeah.
and I called this out a long time ago. Seth thinks he's a face.
Hmm.
He thinks he's a face, and he's probably one of the only characters that I've seen in recent history where they think they're a face, but they've actually been a heel this entire time.
Right.
Like Austin didn't care either way. He was just Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's obvious when The Rock is a face or a heel because the way his promos come off. You know, Ric Flair was one of those guys that thought he was a face too.
Yeah.
You know, Ric Flair always thought he was a face. Ric Flair was never a face. That and like that's kind of what is like helping Charlotte is because like she kind of gets the same reaction that her dad got.
Yeah, yeah. But I want to say something interesting about Seth specifically because you bring up an interesting point. I feel like Seth is because everyone still goes oh every time it comes out. It doesn't matter if he's
Well,
face.
it's also being piped into the crowd.
Well, kinda, but I would say a lot of it's genuine because it's Seth Rollins, right? I mean, let's be
It's
honest.
Seth Rollins. He's gonna get the reaction.
He's gonna get the reaction. I mean, when he came to Sacramento 2 years ago, literally exactly 2 years ago, September 30th,
It was
2027
loud,
today.
wasn't it?
God damn. I mean, after live TV goes off, you got Seth versus Gunther. Seth was world champion then. He says, well, knock on wood, world champion now. And I mean, he cut that promo. It's obviously on the YouTube channel. It's like the second most viewed video outside of the Super Bowl. On the channel, y'all can check that out. And I mean, he's the people's champion. He's the workhorse. He's the guy who goes and goes and goes. And what the stuff he's been saying, bro, like that's what I'm trying to the point I'm trying to make. Everything's been saying is true. Like, when he told Roman, like, the face of the future can't be you before the WrestleMania match, because he said a champion can't be part-time. Everything said to CM Punk about CM Punk leaving for 10 years and then like him having to carry the company on his back. That's all true.
It is true.
He's been there. Like Seth's been the only constant denominator from like the PG era to the reality era to I guess now I'm not sure where we are, TV 14 era, whatever this is, right? Like to Triple H era,
We're like in between.
whatever it is, right? Seth has been the constant denominator for the past decade, where it's like he's actually not been taking any time off at all. He had a baby. The baby stayed with Becky and Seth. I don't know how they manage. I mean, personal experience, it was hard to manage.
They
But he's not
probably, to
taking
be
it.
honest, they're probably doing like how Cody and Brandy were doing. They probably have it on. They probably have it on in the tour bus with
Yeah,
the
tour bus
nanny.
with it. Yeah, probably. Yeah. And they probably have a
It,
sitter.
like you know
You know?
how Cody did it. Cody spent most of his year as champion riding around on the tour bus. He wasn't taking flights.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
got
Because
on the tour
Brandon's
bus and
pregnant.
then
Yeah, because Brandon's pregnant and then she just had a baby last month. And then,
yeah,
and
like
also
she
we think
wasn't
of,
flying. She was just
yeah.
riding around in the tour bus.
But I mean, really, it's interesting because, like, yeah, he's turned heel. He has to be heel because that's what the vision commands. That's what the character commands. That's what Paul Heyman has to be. Paul Heyman cannot be paired with a face. Um, I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I like the vision. I like the Shua fall off. I like Braun Breaker being kind of presented as next in line. I like it. I
What
mean,
do you think about this whole Brock Lesnar throwing shots at everybody?
I mean, the whole thing is just the whole lawsuit shit going on. And so, I mean, we don't know.
I mean, he wasn't technically named in the lawsuit.
I mean, he was named, but obviously, the man on top was the one who was,
Yeah,
the
it's like
key.
oh, there's like I get that he was named in it, but there's like no proof that he did anything. I think that's why he's okay with being there. You
Yeah.
know, obviously a lot more is going to come out, but the way it's looking is this is going to go civil and
Yeah,
not
yeah, well, yeah.
criminal.
It's all
So
civil. There's no criminal, so yeah, it's gonna be all civil. But I mean, what's her name? She actually made a claim like WWE foster like after Brock made SummerSlam appearance like WWE fostered an environment of toxicity, toxic masculinity, which fostered abuse, enabled abuse and this and that. So I mean, whatever. I mean, long story short, I mean, back to like, I like what they're doing with the Vision. Unfortunately, I do hope LA Knight, because he's kind of getting like, he's getting breadcrumbs, or I guess like, table
he is
scraps.
getting breadcrumbs. I did like the interaction at WrestlePalooza.
Yeah.
I liked how he didn't cost them the match, but at the same time, Jay is very reluctantly not trying to turn heel.
Yeah. Jay is not trying to turn heel and Jimmy, but then it's kind of weird because if you see the Usos, it's almost like they're hinting towards a Jay heel turn, where it's like, he's kind of one of the biggest faces there is right now, but then it's like, it makes sense to some degree to kind of turn him heel. And I feel like then they're going to promote Jimmy to be the next major face at some point. So I mean, it's interesting.
If you want Jimmy to be a face, you will turn Jay heel on Jimmy. But
That's what. Yeah,
I kind of so this whole storyline
2 minutes.
has the whole storyline has the bloodline turning heel again.
Yep.
all of them, including Roman Reigns. So it'll be very because they remember they're in this feud because of Roman Reigns. They're not in this feud because of themselves. The
Hmm.
Usos are in this feud because of Roman Reigns.
Right.
So this is kind of interesting that Roman is intertwined in this feud with them because Roman was feuding with Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. Seth Rollins was feuding with Jey Uso, but so was LA Knight. LA Knight was feuding with Seth Rollins. And I will say this: the outside of the two main titles, and maybe well, I'm not even going to count Sammy's, but outside of the two main titles and Becky stepping up while they didn't have a women's champion, I would say that those couple of storylines have been fire. They've been fire. I like those storylines. I will say Triple H does need to do a little bit better of a job on the booking side though.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. All right, to close out today, you got our predictions, for the Bears and the Niners coming up. You got, our season predictions, kind of our power rankings. We talked about the wrestling. Final thoughts pretty much to close out. I will just say thank you all for tuning in. We have now hit, and thank you all for tuning in the last two shorts. Each short got over 1,000 views, so thank you all for that. I wasn't expecting that.
Short blew up.
Yeah, short blew up, so now we have over what is it? Over 70 to 70,000, almost 71,000 views total on the channel. Thank you all once again. Keep sharing, keep on those grow. Any close thoughts, my host, before we end today?
Now, you guys, thanks for supporting me and thanks for supporting us.
Tez
We
down,
really
drop the Tez down. Let's go.
the Test Down podcast. Check me out on YouTube. As all my other links are on the DDOG podcast. We did a special edition of the DOG podcast on the Test Down. I think it was episode 1. You know, that was a special edition. So you guys check that out. It will be available here. All you just has a lot of videos to upload. We did a lot of stuff for you guys that we haven't
Yes, we do.
uploaded
We have a
yet.
lot of stuff to upload from March until now, WrestleMania, all that stuff. So I'm gonna get those up, so apologies, y'all, but we'll get that up. Thank you all. Spotify, YouTube, you know what time it is. God bless. Talk to y'all again next week. Peace.
Peace out.